Hey, welcome to the Pixelstreet Podcast, episode 141. This is our channel now.
Ours.
We're taking over Pixelstreet all day. Me and Joel Campbell's taking over the podcast.
No.
Get Chad and Ram out of here. This is our podcast now. What's up, boys and girls?
You don't know girls listen to this. You don't have the statistical proof. Welcome, everyone, to Respawn Aim Fire. Boom. I can mute you. I can mute your stream.
Oh, no, don't do it.
We are the Kick-Ass Irreverent Gaming Podcast, brought to you by Affable Idiots. We have with us, before I introduce you guys, I got to introduce us. That's important. Hi. Chad Michaelinus, one of your hosts. We have our other host here, Christopher Holden Adams. I meant to say your whole name right. Holden Christopher Adams DePardo. And I fucked it up.
That is my whole name.
And we have two
Christopher Adams,
sexy
Holden DePardo.
snuffleupaguses. No, we'll do that. We'll do that. Here from Pixelstreet Podcast, we have John Revex Shadows Hansen. How are you, John?
Hey, I'm all right. Just sitting over here planning out my podcast conquest, so we're all good.
John, I assume you're a pickle person. Is that correct?
Of course, who isn't?
Me?
John
you a bread
Hansen
and
is the
butter
Genghis
pickle
Khan
person,
of
or-
podcasters.
Hold on.
You're the Genghis Khan of podcasters. You're going to take over all of them.
Yeah, obviously.
Are you guys the kind of pickle people that go to a fucking gas station and buy that giant pickle in a plastic bag?
No, sir. Pickles are a garnish, or in spear form, they are a side item that I will eat.
Mm-hmm.
What about on a Chicago
grab that
hot dog?
classic.
Yes.
Open it up.
That counts as a garnish.
That's the tastiest
Okay.
crunch ever. So,
Is it juicy?
Alternative.
Is it crunchy?
Alternative pickle option.
It's a
Like
Velasquez
a sandwich
pickle.
shop. At least there's some in Providence this way. And there's just a big barrel of pickles, and you can chew on them while you wait for your sandwich. And it's amazing. They're so good. It's pretty
I
great.
might throw up.
a whole barrel of pickles.
Joining us here
It's a whole
also from
barrel of
Pixelstreet
pickles.
Podcast is Joel Campo63. Is it Campos plural or one Campo?
What?
What's
It's
your
just
last
Campo.
name?
my last
Joel
name
Edward
is,
Campo.
is Campos.
That's
One
his name.
Campo. How do you, Joel? I assume you're a pickle person. Is that correct?
No,
course
I'm
he
not
is.
a pickle person.
See,
Not
where
at
Holden
all.
goes into stores and finds the barrel full of pickles, he goes into a store and just pickles a barrl.
Turns out those pickles aren't free that Holden's been eating.
Holden's just been robbing convenience stores of pickles this whole time. Y'all, I swear we're going to talk about video games today. We've got a
I'm the pickle
lot to go
bandit.
over.
What's the best pickle you've ever seen in a video game?
Oh, shit.
I saw Pickle Rick in that Rick and Morty VR game.
I don't think I ever got far enough in that game to actually see Pickle Rick.
I mean, you must have played that game for like 10 minutes because I think I beat it in an hour.
Yeah, I played that game for like 10 minutes and realized it's just doing chores. And this is not fun.
Yep. That's all
Like
it was.
most VR games.
Awesome.
True.
Fight me.
You guys, as I mentioned, this is Respawn Aim Fire. We have every Sunday night at around 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. We go live on twitch.tv/affableidiots. If you hate looking at us live and you want to watch the polished version afterwards, you can go to youtube.com on Tuesday morning at 9 a.m., view it there, or go to podcast services, do the same. If you don't like to look at our faces, well, you're shit out of luck on this next segment. The Grind is a YouTube-only exclusive segment where we go deep with certain topics in the gaming industry, a little bit deeper than we could go on a podcast, because podcasts are really shallow. Turns out, only 2.5 feet deep in the tallest part of the water. So we go deep with The Grind. That's every other Friday on youtube.com/blah, blah, blah, until enough of you subscribe that we get youtube.com/respawnaimfire.
We know the feeling.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Finally, these two lovely bumblebees are joining us as part of Affable Idiots Year of the Guest. So if you would love to be on our show as well, whether this one or AAWY, go to affableidiots.com, fill out the survey, put your name on the little goddamn spreadsheet. We'll connect with you, and we'll all throw pants parties separately in our own homes. We've got a lot coming up to talk about, including the indie world from Nintendo, Bioshock 4 news. Ooh! I got butter coming out of my nipples right now. I'm so excited. And then we also have Resident Evil Village demo talks. But first, we're talking about games at full price, everybody. $60, $70. How much? What's the most you've ever paid for it? Before we start this discussion, what's the most you've ever paid for a video game, collector's editions included?
I think I paid $250 for the Fallout 76 collector's edition with the helmet.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
I remember that.
The helmet's cool. The game was not very good for a long time. It's better now.
Still
a
not
lot
good.
better now than it was. Yeah. I enjoy it. It's fun to play when you have friends to play with. Definitely not a game you want to go into solo.
Yeah.
But I think that's the most I've paid for a single game.
It is on Game Pass now after Bethesda was acquired by Xbox, and I downloaded it. I still haven't given it a try.
Don't do it. I think I
they
paid
have
$100.
Series X enhancements.
Does it have enhancements? So it
I think
works?
so. Like
it's good?
higher FPS and stuff.
Yeah.
They have worthwhile gameplay on Xbox Series X. Yeah, I think $100 for Uncharted 3 is what I paid. I came in like a big box, and it had a Nathan Drake statue and the ring on the leather string and all that.
Do you still have the statue?
I do still have the statue in a storage unit in San Francisco, and I do still have the ring somewhere. Actually, don't call me Ashley. Boom. Sick Parvis
right
Magna,
there.
y'all. I'm gonna put it on right now. Paid $100 for this shit.
Very nice.
Holden.
I have two answers, but one's like not. It's not legit. Okay, so $70 because next gen games cost more money, and I don't buy collector's editions. But also technically $360 because I bought a Nintendo Switch for Breath of the Wild. So,
yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
John, did you answer?
No, I'm really trying to think. I definitely have bought collector's editions in the past. I'm pretty much all digital now, so I don't do that much anymore. I remember back when I was really into Call of Duty, though, I tried pre-ordering, I think it was Black Ops 2. Their collector edition came with like a little drone that you could fly around. And I remember I went into GameStop and I tried buying that. And for whatever reason, the cashier just wouldn't let me pre-order. I said, hey, I want I think it was called the Prestige Edition. He's like, oh, you don't want that. That's no good. So I'm just going to give you the step below. I'm like, no, that's not what I said. I have the money right here. I want to pay this off. And he just would refuse to put me on that list. I was like, okay. So
that is a terrible salesman.
Right? My guess would be probably 100 at some point. I couldn't tell you right off the top of my head which game it was that I spent that on.
Did did Twilight Princess HD on Wii U, did that come with the Wolf Link amiibo by default, or was that an extra cost? Because I do have that Wolf Link amiibo.
Knowing that,
I want to say it was an extra cost just because I wanted to have paid more money.
I think it was extra, but I don't think it was a crazy amount extra.
I got that. So that whatever that is, that's the most expensive game I've bought. Unless it was $70, but it's Nintendo, so I doubt it.
Yeah. Well, in the
this
Wii U
conversation
days,
was
they
brought
were
to you
selling
by-
games at 50, so it'd probably be 60.
That's right. This discussion's brought to you by an article on IGN from Adam Bankhurst that says Days Gone director says if you love a game, buy it at full price. So John Garvin, who's the creative director and writer on Days Gone, which has gotten a lot of press in the last week on rumors that its sequel is now canceled, he guested on David Jaffe's YouTube channel, who is the creator of God of War. There's a quote from him that says, quote, I do have an opinion on something that your audience may find of interest, and it might piss oos of them, is what I see here. I'm going to say most of them, but it's mouse without an M. It might piss most of them off. If you love a game, buy it at fucking full price. I can't tell you how many times I've seen gamers say, yeah, I got that on sale. I got it through PS Plus, whatever. So that was the quote from John Gavin. David Jaffe pushed back and says that how can someone love a game if they haven't played it yet? And Gavin responds, quote, I can tell you that when we were doing Siphon Filter Dark Mirror on PSP, we got so fucked on Dark Mirror because piracy was a thing, and Sony wasn't really caught up on what piracy was doing to sales. And we would show them torrents. A torrent site had 200,000 copies of Dark Mirror being downloaded. If I remember it right, the numbers could be wrong, but regardless, I was pissed about it then. I was like, this is a money out of my pocket. So I think the uptick in engagement with the game is not as important as did you buy the game at full price? Because if you did, then that's supporting the developers directly. I would love to just open up to discussion, like just reactions to a very, very pointed argument from John Garvin.
I mean, I would argue that buying the game at all, on sale or anything, is directly supporting the developers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody has the money to buy games at full price every time they come out.
Also, he talks about like people not supporting, let's say, Days Gone at launch and everything. That game didn't do a good job of selling itself. Like, there weren't, I mean, of course there were some people excited and everything, but we're talking about a big Sony exclusive here. No one was talking about that game after a week. They were saying, oh, okay, this game isn't that great. Like, yeah, okay, yeah, if you want to support a game, buy it at full price and everything, but the people making the game, they also have to sell that game and actually make it worth the price, make it look like the price. There are enough pre-orders going out there in the world. I know a lot of people are against pre-orders, but there are still plenty of those around that you just didn't do a good job of selling your game.
And I feel like with a sequel, it's easy to do that. Hold on. I'm curious. With a sequel, it's easy to have love for a game or a franchise and buy it and pre-order it. But his quote saying, you know, if you love a game, buy it at full price. How do you do that with a new franchise like Days Gone? Like, how do you sell that to somebody and convince them it's worth full price before they play it? Yeah,
like with Resident Evil Village, it's easy, demos aside, because we like Resident Evil games. We kind of know what we're getting into. But yeah, with like a new franchise, it's all about the marketing. You have to position that game and make it stand out amongst the pack. And Days Gone, I don't think did that, and that's why it didn't sell like as well as Sony would have wanted. Although it didn't sell badly by any means.
It was profitable.
Yeah, it was profitable. Just, you know, Sony has a high standard. Yeah, it just comes down to marketing with these new games and getting it out there and being as open as possible about it. Show the, 45-minute game demo of you doing something in the game. Don't just keep it to these like isolated CGI trailers that don't actually tell you anything about the game. Like, show people what they're playing. And I think then you can justify and say, hey, like, we showed off the game, people didn't buy it because they didn't want it. But if you don't show the game, no one can know if they want it or not. It's just not. And not every company can do demos. Like, Resident Evil can do those demos, and they're really great so far. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But not every company can do that. That's a lot of time and money and resources that you just can't give up as a smaller developer.
I do want to comment on the demo thing. I actually went to a Days Gone event here in Chicago before launch, and they had demos playable of the game. It was like a full-on demo. Like, you got to the menu, there were two options. I forget what they were. One was like you got to play a portion of the story, and one was like a survival mode. And it let you play for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes maybe, and then it cut you off. And it said like, thanks for playing the demo. And I remember playing that, and I was like, why isn't this on the PSN store? Like, that doesn't make any sense that it wouldn't be there. Yeah. Like, especially with it, like you said, with a new IP, let people know what they're playing. Because, like, for me personally, when it comes to a new IP, I tend to wait for reviews to see what people say about it. Because, like, I don't know what I'm getting into. And when I saw reviews for Days Gone, like, I was listening to the Kind of Funny one, and they all just said it was kind of just like a middle of the road. Like, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. It was just a middle-of-the-road type game that kind of overstayed its welcome and kind of dragged on a bit. And that just wasn't something that appealed to me, so I never bought it.
I think about a game that I think did really well with this is Outriders. And it's because of a demo. Honestly, the game, I saw a couple of gameplay demos. I was like, oh, that game looks like it could be cool. Maybe it's a little bit of a Destiny ripoff. But playing the demo and getting hands-on with that first like hour and a half of it, that's what sold me on it. And I bought it, pre-ordered it right after the demo, and I still haven't played a minute of it since it came out a couple weeks ago. But that's just because I'm waiting for Dallas and Matt so we can play it together. But it's I think having that demo available and playable is really what did wonders for that game. And it got people talking on social media. It got news outlets talking about it and previews and all that kind of stuff. So I think demos are a huge way to get people engaged with your game and let them quote unquote love it before it comes out too.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like, not so much this generation, but I feel like this has been like promised in the past where it's like, oh, you can go to the PSN store on PlayStation 4 and play an hour of a game and get to experience it before you buy it. And that kind of promise never actually ended up happening. And I'm curious as to why, because I think a lot of these big companies like Square Enix, who does Outriders, like they can absolutely afford to do a demo. Like that makes sense for them to do that. I wonder if maybe they run into issues with smaller teams not being able to do it, because I agree, like I'm more willing to buy a game if I can play it ahead of time and think like, oh, this is really good. Like actually an example of this is Dragon Quest 11 on Switch had that like 10-hour demo to play, which was and it was just literally the direct game, your progress carried right over. That compelled me to buy that game 100%. If I didn't get the chance to do that, I never would have bought Dragon Quest 100%. Also Square Enix too, so
I think a lot of it also comes down to the polish of the game too, because I remember playing that Days Gone demo at that event, and it was not polished. Like there were a lot of bugs. I was waiting in line to play, and I saw people just glitching through the map. And I think when the game launched, there was a lot of bugs as well. And so I think that's probably why there wasn't a demo on the PlayStation Store, because like we've been talking about this higher PlayStation standard that they have. And probably for them to put something like that on the store was probably like a bad reputation on them.
Yeah, you could tell with how buggy that game was, even at launch, like with day one patches, like they probably didn't want people to see that ahead of time.
Yeah. Also, I mean, it just kind of comes down to the quality of the game, even after like bugs and stuff. I played it for the first time just a couple months ago on PS Plus, and I didn't get over 5 hours into the game and I was done with it. Like, and I'm a guy that loves zombie games. I absolutely adore them. This game wasn't special at all. It dragged on and I just couldn't get into it. I think, like Joel said earlier, it wasn't bad or anything, but it was so middle of the road that it just wasn't special. It didn't stand out at all. It didn't stand out from Last of Us. Like, it just didn't do anything to really warrant a sequel.
They also didn't, like, the Last of Us comparison's important there too. Like, I understand that just for people who've played both games have told me, I've only played Last of Us, but it is kind of like an image at that time of, well, it's just a Last of Us. It's just Sony making another version of The Last of Us because Last of Us was so popular. And I think that absolutely hurt it. It didn't, like, distinguish itself enough. But apparently the gameplay is significantly different. That they just,
it is.
It's a marketing thing. They just didn't market it well enough to say this is how it's so much different from The Last of Us.
I was going to bring up the marketing thing too, because like look at a game like Cyberpunk. Everybody wanted that game at launch, and everybody pre-ordered and bought it. And it launched, and it was garbage at launch. Like so many bugs everywhere. Like they pretty much lied about most of the game, about how it ran and stuff.
On PS4. How crazy is that?
That is insane. Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, marketing plays a major, major part in it.
I think
what do you think about
important?
Go for it, Holden.
Another part I think is important too is getting reviews out early, but that can be kind of shaky if critics don't end up liking it. But, you know, there's not always the case, but I feel like a telltale bad sign is when a developer allows the reviews to be released the day the game comes out. Good reviews, I think, really help build up a game.
Yeah, and that kind of brings me to this next point about, like, how are we feeling on like paying full price for a game? Full price does not mean pre-order. It can mean buying it a week or two after launch. It can mean looking at reviews, playing it at a friend's house, and then finally deciding for yourself if you're going to buy it. What's your philosophy on full price games? Because I know I've been on both sides of the spectrum. I've been on the I'm struggling to survive in Chicago, and I have a list of games, and every week I check the PlayStation sales and I wait for something to go on sale, and then now I'm in my 30s and I have a little bit more disposable income, so I'm a little bit more likely to say, oh, Outriders, that was a fun demo. I'll throw $60 your way, or 70, or however many games cost now. But I've been on both sides, but I'm curious, like, what do you guys think about that buying full price argument?
I mean, I think it's circumstantial for everybody, right? It just depends on what you value as a $60 or $70 value and what you would rather wait on. I mean, it's all preference, really.
Yeah, absolutely. It comes down to what kind of games you're in, how the game looks. Back 4 Blood coming out later this year is one of my most anticipated games in a long time. I'm gonna, unless I get the game out of other means, I am going to pay as much as I can for that because I want it so bad.
If they let you pay $200 for the same experience I pay $70 for, will you do it?
for a game like that I'm so excited for, yeah, I would do it. Like, that's just.
I mean, I think me and John both played $100 for MLB The Show, and it's going to be free on Game Pass for both of us on Tuesday.
That's right.
So
yeah, we both did. So yeah, it just comes down to what you like. I mean, yeah, if you don't want to pay full price, wait for it to go on sale, because a few months down the road, it's bound to go on sale. That's just how digital stores work, and sometimes physical. So yeah, just hold off.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't like this idea of like the obligation to buy a game full price, because he says like it's all about preference. Like if like again, going back to Resident Evil 8, like I'm buying that game not because I'm obligated to, because I really want to play that game, and I'm not gonna wait 3 months and hope it goes on sale later on. I want to play that game now, so I'm gonna spend the full price for it. This kind of feels like a movie studio saying, you know, if people like movies, they need to go to a movie theater to see it, and it's like, well, I don't really want to see like whatever random indie film it is in theaters. I don't care. I'll wait for it to come out and rent it later on. Like, that's just how I'd rather watch that movie. I don't need to see it right now. I'll be fine. It's just all about what you like and when you want to see it. If you want it as soon as possible, you're just going to have to spend more for it. That's how it works everywhere for just about everything.
Honestly, I think it's a little bit tone deaf and a bad look for John Garvin too, to be demanding that people pay full price for his games loaded with expletives, making you feel like if you paid less than $60 for Days Gone, then your money's not welcome and you didn't do enough to support us like that. You know, I think
who here had even heard of that PSP game? Because I hadn't.
Like, who cares? Dark Mirror.
I had heard of it, but it's just because I did mostly handheld games when I was younger, so I just was more in tune with that. But yeah, I don't think many people would know about it. Honestly, he said it was like 200,000 copies were torrented. I highly doubt in a perfect world it would have even sold 200,000 copies. 200,000 copies is a lot for a game.
Especially for the PSP.
On a PSP. Exactly, yeah, PSP.
Yeah, on the PSP. Yeah.
Now, granted, there were a lot of PSP sold, but it's because they were so easy to hack. And you could play anything on them.
Yes. Got to play Super Mario Brothers a 10th different way.
Yep.
Nintendo's not offered you enough ways to play that game yet.
No. Let me go grab my Game & Watch.
You bought one? The new one?
Yeah, I got one.
That's awesome.
Of course I did.
That's awesome. I think Matt
I'm
bought
a
one
fool
too.
with my money. I just told you I would pay $200 for Back 4 Blood.
When it literally got you the same thing I got for less than half the price. Awesome. Do you guys have anything else to say on this before we move on?
That was sure a take.
I want you like what's his face? I can't remember. The guy who leads the warehouse in The Office. How that one episode he just like records all of his responses to things. He's like, let's knock out a couple of these here. Man, what he or she just did was really uncalled for. And then he just does those. That's what I want from you, John. Holden, you said you had one more thing to add?
Yeah, there was a time that, all right, take No Man's Sky. Recently, I was going to wait for that to go on sale to buy the PS5 version, because I got a digital PS5, but I had the physical disc of that game. Right. And I was like, I'll wait for it to go on sale. I'm like, why not what? They don't take my money after I buy the game. It's a small team, and they've been releasing updates all the time over the past few years. I'm like, I just want to support that. So I'm just like, I'll spend full price, because it's not this like gigantic monolithic studio like CD Projekt Red who's doing shady shit. Although No Man's Sky did do some shady, Hello Games did some shady stuff when that game launched, but they've gotten a lot better, and I wanted to support their improvement. So in that case, like, I made an exception. Normally I would have probably just waited for a sale though.
I think the most important thing is no customer is under any obligation to buy your game under any circumstances.
Yeah,
like I don't.
They could be the biggest Sony Ben fan in the world. You can't just be like, yeah, that person's buying my game because. Yeah. Like, that's ridiculous.
Well, that's how the CD Projekt Red incident happens. Well, people are going to buy this game anyway, so let's release like this kind of half-finished version of it.
I get so mad thinking about that.
A game that 5 months later they still haven't fixed.
I still love that game, but yeah, it was a mess, and I really, it's a very divisive issue.
Speaking of paying for games that you don't have to, John and Joel, let's move into playtime. You guys both played MLB The Show 21. You paid for it, even though it's on Game Pass for the first time ever, not on a Sony system. Mm-hmm. Tell me all about it.
Oh, man.
Me and John both came to the same conclusion, like, separately. We were in a party, and I was like, yeah, I'm buying that game, like, the most expensive one, just because, like, I love that it's coming to Xbox as a whole. I love the game. I play it every year. I buy it on my PS4, PS5 every year, and just the fact that it's on Xbox, it still blows my mind. Like launching it on Xbox and you see like the Sony intro, like Sony Studios intro animation.
It's so odd.
It's weird, but I mean, it's really cool that it's here. Yeah. And I can't stop playing it. I'm so hooked on it.
Yeah, I don't even care if it wasn't Sony's plan to bring it to Xbox, that the MLB forced them to do it. Like, I just want to support that because Xbox had not had a viable baseball game in so long, and I'm a huge baseball fan. I bought my PS4 mostly for the show because that's just how big of a baseball fan I am. Me and Joel were talking earlier that, yeah, there are some issues with the game. It's not a perfect experience by any means, but man, I can't stop playing it this weekend. It's all I have played lately.
I would argue that even with its flaws, it's still the best baseball video game that has ever been on an Xbox.
Yeah, no question. The
MLB
last one
2K games.
Yeah, the 2K games back in,
those
I think,
terrible.
2011 was the last one, and I mean, there's a reason that it's been gone for a decade, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does it feel on a DualSense? The last time I played an MLB The Show game was whatever one on PS3 integrated the Move and the PlayStation Eye, and so you could actually like swing the bat and pitch the ball.
That sounds awful.
So I got the game early on PS5 to cover guides on GamePro.com if anyone wants to check those out.
Do it.
I've been playing since Wednesday on PS5, and it really isn't any different from PS4. The DualSense doesn't do anything different. I was actually kind of disappointed in that. Nothing. It's all the same.
4K 60?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you got that. But I was just talking purely from a DualSense perspective, because every PS5 game I want to have something cool with the DualSense. I love that controller. The big differences are there's a Stadium creator mode in the next gen version that is not on PS4 or Xbox One. That's only Series X and PS5, which is really cool. They have the Field of Dreams in there. Me being from Iowa, I absolutely love that. Yeah, it's a quality title.
I mean, you could still play the user-created stadiums that people have made and uploaded. You just can't create them.
Gotcha.
On the last gen versions of the game. Yeah.
Can you being a product of the environment that it was developed in, can you replace the audience with cardboard cutouts?
I don't think so.
I'm not sure, but there is a way that you can like take out all of the stands, like the Field of Dreams one I was talking about, where normally a major league stadium you're looking at like 40,000 people or something like that. There's only 50 people in there, so it's really quiet, and there's like only like 2 bleachers for people.
You can also put like UFOs out in the outfield.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's dope.
Like there's wacky, like there's animated T-Rexes that you could put out there.
Can they actually abduct people?
No.
I think it's just a static thing that just sits there.
I'm curious if like Sony San Diego infamously creates these games in like 9 or 10 months every single year. And I'm curious, does it feel like it was a game that was created during COVID, or does it feel like an actual successor to last year's game?
I think so usually these games come out, well, I know in the past that there was some that came out in May, but recently they've been putting them out in like March, right before the actual baseball season starts. So with COVID, I think they delayed it about a month because it just came out. I don't really notice anything like that, but then again, you have so many assets and everything that you're just taking from the 20 version of the game that I don't think there's that many ways they could mess it up. But like they added in cross-play and cross-progression and everything since it's on Xbox now, and that actually works really well. So no, I would say they did a very well job developing this in the short time frame that they have.
I would say that given, the past year with COVID and everything, I think that they may have added more features in this game from last year than they have in previous jumps of the game. Because like they added new like fielding animations, they added the stadium creator. It just, I don't know. Would you agree, John, that they added more this year than they have in other years in the past?
Well, last year was the first one I had played in a long time, but I would say just from what I know of sports games year over year, most of the time you are just playing a roster update. Maybe there will be one or two new things, but usually one of those things is a new menu. But no, there's definitely plenty more to do. There's tons of game modes in it, surprisingly for a baseball game. Just a lot of different ways to experience the game, and I love it.
That's
if
actually
you're on
really
Xbox,
surprising.
it's just like the first baseball game in a long time to actually play, so
Yeah.
it's not even iterative.
I will say the menu in this game sucks. It's very bad.
Really?
It's like they tried to simplify it, but I think they did it too much, and now it's like they simplified it to a fault. Me and John were talking. John had to write a guide on how to play your friend one-on-one with actual MLB teams. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, where most games would have like a thing there that'd be like play online with friends. This game has offline exhibition, live roster, which is just play a game with the teams that are playing in the real MLB that day. And then a competitive mode against randoms. You have to actually like go into your profile, tab over, find a friends list, find the person you want to do, and then invite to exhibition game. It's ridiculous how complicated it is.
I would say that sounds like a Nintendo online game, except for that wouldn't even be possible in a Nintendo game, let alone being convoluted like that.
One thing I do want to say that's weird is when they tweeted that like over a year ago at this point that the show was going to be coming to other platforms, right? Nintendo was one of the companies that like quote tweeted it with like a baseball bat and stuff. So I was wondering, I was like, is this eventually going to come there, or did they try and like make it come there in some form? Like what's going on with that?
I imagine whatever the next hardware iteration is that maybe is a little bit more powerful, or maybe they're working on a streaming version, and like a couple of other games have done, like Control.
I don't want to play that.
Well, nobody does, but I assume that's what's kind of happening, is that they're figuring out how they're going to put it on Switch. And
I could also see the pandemic affecting them so bad that they had to cancel the Switch version this year, and maybe they're planning on doing it for next year.
Yeah, especially if it's like a parsed down version, that can take a lot of resources to figure out like what exactly you need to cut out. They just didn't have the time. Yeah, that's a good point.
I do want to say the fact that this is on Xbox now as well. I was worried up until a few months ago that like the Xbox version was going to be like a watered down or like a lesser version than the PlayStation. Like I thought maybe they were going to leave a mode out of the Xbox version just because, you know, it's a Sony made game mainly for PlayStation. But I mean, it's literally the same exact game on both consoles, which is nice.
And I haven't heard anything about what's really impressive to me is that not only does it sound like they've made a significant upgrade over last year, but it's also they had to learn like that studio has only made Sony PlayStation games. They had to learn now how to make a game for an Xbox system. They had to create a cross play and a cross progression system between the two different types of
I mean, didn't they just have to? They just had to hit a button and flip a switch, right?
That's right.
Isn't that what the internet
said that?
always
We just had
says?
to accidentally hit a switch and turn on
I will
crossplay.
say the cross progression stuff, this is still a Sony title, so it's not as good as like an Xbox cross progression thing, like uploading to the cloud to actually. So there are only a couple things that are automatically transferred over. That's your created ball player and your Diamond Dynasty stuff. Like I can go from my Xbox to my PlayStation 5 and it will just automatically go over. However, if I want to carry over my Road to the Show or my franchise team, I have to first go on one of my consoles, upload it to the cloud manually, then go to the other console and download it. And I have to do that every time I switch between consoles. It will not automatically save on both consoles. So that kind of sucks. Yeah,
I remember
It's
doing that with
2021.
Diablo 3, playing it, back and forth at my friend's house, and there were so many times when I had to call and be like, "Tom, can you go to my profile on your PlayStation and upload my Witch Hunter or my Witch Doctor so that I can play it on my home because I forgot to transfer it?" And that's a pain in the ass.
That's one of the things I love most about the Xbox One and the Series X is that's all automatic. Like,
I mean, I would take having to jump through hoops like that over having a game like Overwatch not have cross progression at all.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm not saying get rid of cross progression here. I'm just saying it's not as good as it could be.
Yeah.
it just sounds so inefficient because like it's 2021, like that has been figured out for years now how to do the kind of stuff.
Xbox has been doing it since the
thing
360.
Does cloud uploads better than PlayStation?
Yeah.
Think about that.
Well, like it must be that they're storing them on different servers because if it was all on the same server, it wouldn't matter. It's got to be they're using different servers, which is kind of a total waste of resources and money on their part. That doesn't. That's really interesting.
Speaking of Overwatch, John, you played Overwatch?
Yeah, man. Archives event is up. I love Overwatch, and I love the Archive event. This one is a little bit of a down year, I think, because they're still so focused on making Overwatch 2 that they're not really putting out lore stuff like they usually do during the Archives event, and that's really what I love this event for. But this year, instead of like making a new comic and like showing off new skins in that comic, all the new skins are centered around wars in the past. So like Tracer has like a Revolutionary War suit, and so does Soldier 76, and Zarya has a Russian old style armor, and so does Genji with Japan. So some really cool skins in there, new challenges. It's fun. I still love Overwatch, but man, am I ready for new content.
Are you what platform do you play Overwatch on?
I have it on everything, PC, Switch, PlayStation, and Xbox. I mostly play on Xbox though.
There's been repeatedly several members of our Patreon community that want us to play Overwatch for a game night.
Let's
But
do it.
Holden doesn't have it.
Let's do it.
I have it, but I've never played it outside of a demo weekend. And it's like we kind of need a Sherpa a little bit, but like what's the average team size on an Overwatch team? Is it 6 or is it 4?
To be
6.
Really quickly, to be clear, the reason I'm not going to get it right now is why would I buy that game when 2 is coming out?
Yeah, I get
Relatively soon. Like I'm not going to buy Overwatch right now.
I
But
will
my point
say,
being, on a game
I
night.
really, when Overwatch 2 comes out, I think they're gonna pretty much incorporate that into Overwatch 1. And I think
That's what they were saying. Yeah.
all of your progress and everything you unlock, I think, will automatically carry over and everything, which is good. So if you want to do it that way, cool. I recommend. I still think it's a great game. I think the community around it is toxic as all hell. Like, just don't play with randoms. It has turned me off playing pickup games with randoms in almost every game. It's that bad.
More toxic than Siege.
Probably. I don't play much Siege, so I couldn't tell you.
Siege is insane. I don't.
Overwatch is bad.
I've seen a lot of racist stuff on Siege, like a lot. I was really surprised. It was.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was really bad.
The other guy on Pixelstreet Podcast, Connor, I used to play in a group with him on Overwatch a lot. They kind of fell off, but I go back to it every now and then, and I'll just play solo. I don't even join party chat or game chat or anything. I'll just go into my own party, play by myself, and I have fun. I think the game is designed beautifully. I love the characters. It's colorful. I love all the different abilities. I love the lore. I'm just patient. I'm impatiently waiting for Overwatch 2.
Well, it sounds like if we play it,
you should do an Overwatch game night because me and John have it everywhere. So
yeah. So that's
We'll
two
play
of
it.
us. Me. It looks like Matt in the chat. Matt from Rhode Island says Overwatch ! And then
Let's do it.
Let's do it. He also said
set a date right
Skeet
now. When are we
earlier.
doing
So
Chad, when are we doing it? Set a date right now.
it's not this week because this
Do it.
week we're doing
Not
Mortal
this week.
Kombat on
Okay,
Friday.
It's next week, you're saying. All right.
Done next week. I don't know. We'll see.
You
We'll
guys
see.
all enjoy game night.
April
I guess I'll
32nd.
just.
It's okay. We played a free game this last week, and Holden didn't play with us anyway because he didn't download it.
No. I did download it, and then my PlayStation didn't download it. It crashed or something like that. I did my due diligence. PlayStation fucked up. It's not my fault.
What was it?
It was Apex.
Oh,
We
you
played
played my
Apex.
PlayStation. Oh, yeah, Apex Legends, yeah.
Apex? I'm not understanding.
Joel.
Is Apex still a thing? Like,
yeah, they
is
just
it
crossed
still
100.
really good? I haven't
They
played
just
it in a
crossed
long
100
time.
million players.
I know that, but that's cool. I'm glad. I really love Respawn. I just don't have any desire to go back to it for some reason. I don't know.
Joel, you're back on that Ring Fit.
yeah, I'm back on that.
I've
Ring
been seeing
Fit.
the Apple Watch notifications.
Yeah, man. I do. I want to give you a shout out. You and Matt too. You guys always replying to my workout things. It's really motivating. But yeah, ever since we did Ring Fit with RAF, I kind of fell off. But I got back into it this past week, and I've been going hard. I played today. which is surprising because I normally don't play it on weekends. I typically just do it during lunch, during the week. But yeah, I'm getting back into it. It definitely feels like I feel good when I work out, but then like if I stop working out for like a week, it's like why would I go back? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a great game. Like we said so many times, if you have a Switch already and you're looking to, work out or have some sort of activity, definitely pick it up.
John.
Sorry.
But
Worth it.
that's the first time John's ever picked that up.
No. It's just been a very long time since I've picked it up.
But yeah, that game's great. I've been going through more of the adventure mode, getting back into it, just because I feel like that's easier to do than, doing the, preset workouts for like work on your arms, work on your, your abs, whatever, your core. I've just been going through the adventure mode as I get back into it. And then like what happened before, I think after a few weeks, I got bored of doing that and I just started doing my own workouts. So I'm sure I'll end up back doing that. But I did an ab workout today. I was facing some ab boss. I almost threw up. I'm not even kidding. I like stood up. I stood up at the end of it. I was like kind of dizzy, and I like look over at my fiance. I was like, I think I'm gonna throw up. And she's like, please don't. And then I just kind of like stood there for a few minutes. I drank some water, did my stretch cool down, and then I took a shower. I was good. But yeah, I did not feel good after that.
Some of those ab ones are completely unbalanced. Like the ones where you like just push in against your abs, and then there's the one where it's like you're on the floor and you're doing the leg ones, and it's just like, oh my god, there's no way these should count similar.
There's also one where you literally hold the ring in front of you, like horizontal to the ground, and then you just do this.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, that's super easy. And then there's one where it's like, all right, do a plank for 3 minutes. It's like, what the fuck? Yeah. But I think the ones that killed me the most are when you're on your back and you have to like lift your legs up repeatedly. Man,
Yeah.
I did not feel good after that, but I mean, I feel good now. I feel great.
Especially because I don't remember that one actually being super effective against the enemies. And I was like, the one where you twist is just like destroys everything, and then the actually hard one doesn't do much.
No, the one where you twist can hit everybody that you're fighting all at one time, and like the other one that you lay on the ground only attacks one person.
So, Cressy, speaking of, actually, before I transition into this next one, I sent everyone, there's a subscriber interrogative that came through in our Twitch chat. I sent everyone a picture
I added it
for
to the
later.
note already.
Oh, great. Perfect. It's in the note. Forget everything about the Twitter thing that I just said. So speaking of working out with video games, I mentioned last week that I've been doing BoxVR a couple days a week. Just literally boxing in VR. It's just Beat Saber, but with jabs and crosses and uppercuts. And it's grown on me, and I've gone from like 2 times a week to now almost every day, which is really cool. Like, it's something that I enjoy doing. And I'm even doing it in addition to regular workouts. So I'll do a workout in the morning at the gym, and then I'll come home, and later that night before I go to bed, I was like, let's box for 25 minutes. And
that's what I say when I come home every night too.
Have you ever played? Have you ever played Creed VR?
Creed VR.
I haven't. No, that was like the movie, like most licensed movie shit.
Game.
I don't check out.
I mean, it has nothing to do with the movie at all.
Okay.
It's just a
simple
boxing game.
just with those characters.
And like towards the beginning of quarantine, I picked that up because it was on sale, and I used that to work out as well. But honestly, I feel like, I don't know, I'm kind of sick of my PSVR. I feel like it's such a hassle to set up most of the time. I feel like if I got a new headset at this point, like if I wanted one today, I would probably get the Quest 2 just because of all those updates they've been making.
Yeah.
But I mean, I want to see what the new PSVR is. But
Me too. I'm ready for that. I've gotten to the point now where like over here, you have my PSVR is like out and ready to go. My Move wands are charging. I've got the breakout box already connected with HDR pass through. Like, I literally bought PSVR twice just so I could get the HDR pass through and not have to reconnect everything every time. So
that's my problem. I have to reconnect it every time because I can't live without that HDR pass.
Yeah, I would not.
If
I still had the version 1, I 100% would not be playing VR as often as I do right now. So I'm loving that. Again, we played Apex Legends for game night. I surprised myself at how bad I am at that game, yet still how much fun it can be.
I mean, that's just kind of battle royales in general, isn't it? You always feel like you're awful when you get knocked out.
Yep.
Especially when you see videos on Twitter of people who just get 5 kills in a row when they're basically John Wick running through a building, and then you're playing and you die immediately.
Yeah, you see them like not even aiming down sights, shoot you from 300 yards away, just like you're dead, and I'm just like literally 10 feet from you, firing 35 bullets into your chest, and nothing happens. That's where it gets frustrating. I am like 10 hours into Final Fantasy IX. I binged a ton today and yesterday. We're playing that because it's our barf game this last 2 months. Backlog accomplishment with Respawn and Friends, where we all play that game. We talk about it at the end of the month. We've got a couple of guests in mind who want to help us out, talk about that show, or that game. We also have a new game to announce for barf for next month. And this is going to be a 2-monther again. So May and June, we are officially playing Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yes.
Red Dead Redemption.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish that game. I'm just going to spend so long jerking off looking at horse balls that I'm just...
So did you guys not play it when it came out?
No.
I played half of it, and I really liked it, and then just other things came up, and I never got a chance to finish it, and I really, really want to finish that game because I liked it a lot.
Yeah,
I played the
enjoyed
first 30 minutes of Red Dead 1 like 30 times, where you have to do something with a horse and like look at bunnies or something like that, and I was like, I can't do this. And then everything being super realistic, and like you have to brush your hair and clean your gun, and all, I was like, I don't want to do any of that shit. So that turned me off. So
that's the whole reason why I never got it. I just didn't want all that stuff. Also, just with Rockstar games, Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption, like the last thing I want to do is actually play through those stories. I realize that like the first Red Dead Redemption has a great story, and the second one probably does as well. But man, all I want to do is just cause havoc in those games. I don't want to go on a story mission. I just want to, like in Grand Theft Auto 5, all I want to do is I want to start being chased by cops and see how long I can survive.
Oh, there are real consequences in this game too for wreaking havoc. Like there's a bounty on your head. And
like people literally come to your house in real life and kill you. There are real consequences.
I'm getting it right away.
So yes, that's our barf game. If you want to influence what we play, go to patreon.com/respawnaimfire. And it turns out you guys just want to hear me shit on that game in 2 months. That's it.
He's going into it with a very open mind.
Yes. Next up, Holden, talk about Fez real quick, and then we'll talk about the Resident Evil Village demo.
Oh, yeah. So Fez was surprisingly announced at the Nintendo Indie event. I don't know if we have to talk about that event at all anymore, because the only thing that was important was Fez.
And Oxenfree 2. Come on.
Oxenfree 2? Hell yeah.
Oxenfree 2.
We'll get to that. I don't know anything about Oxenfree other than it was supposed to be a good game. So I played Fez on my PS Vita way back when, but not all the way through on it. So this time I'm like, I'm going to beat it this time. I'm going to get all 32 cubes, and I guess that's how you're going to beat the game, I think. And I'm playing through that. It's just such a clever, fun, enjoyable, like peaceful platformer, but then also like puzzly, and you have to kind of figure stuff out. And it just has a great balance of a lot of different kind of different styles of a platformer, where it can have nice challenges to it. It can have a lot of exploration to it, but it's calm and relaxing throughout too. I really love that game a lot.
Deep puzzles. It has an entire language you have to learn. Not like it doesn't say, here's how this word works. No, it's like you just fucking figure it out. Just look at shit on the walls and figure it out.
I'm starting to notice that, and do I have to do that to beat the game?
I mean, no. Listen, I 100% of that game, but I 100% use guides the entire time to do it. So you don't have to do that.
I'm gonna do as much as I can without guides, but there is a huge level of satisfaction leaving an area and going to the map and seeing it's gold, has a gold perimeter around it, knowing you did everything, that I just feel like I want that experience of going through the entire map and seeing a bunch of gold cubes because I did everything. And I feel like I'm going to have to use a guide to do everything. But I'm going to do as much as I can first. It's great. It's a really, really good game. Yeah, I'm playing it on Switch. I bought it on Switch, got it on Switch. It's the perfect platform for a game like that.
Yeah, I beat it on Vita, got 100%. There is no platinum trophy in that game, which fucking sucks. Because that's
Should
a
have played it
hard
on
platinum.
Switch. You should have known it was going to come out in like a
So
decade.
that's why I'm not saying like, Holden, you should have played it on Vita. No, play it on Switch. You can do it.
This is a game I really might grab on Switch. I've never played it, but I've been looking for a new Switch game lately, so I'll probably give it a try.
Good. It's shorter than I thought. I feel like I'm actually much farther in it than I would have expected, considering how little I've played it. But it's a pretty short game, actually. Chad, correct me if I'm wrong, because you've actually finished it.
I don't remember what is like main path and what's all the extra shit because I just did it all kind of at the same time. But I do remember.
I don't know if there is a main path though. So you can kind of like, it's very exploration based. So you can kind of just go any order you want. You can kind of do things whatever order you want.
According to HowLongToBeat.com, main story is 6 hours. Completionist is 11 and a half.
That's not bad.
Resident Evil Village. Are Holden and I the only ones that played this demo?
I played it.
You played it too, John?
I did not. I'm
Joel,
a baby.
Joel sent us I am a baby with a baby bottle emoji.
Yeah. I'm not going to try and sugarcoat it at all. I don't do scary stuff. I tried streaming one time Resident Evil 7 in VR. I think that's the most views. I think that's the most views I ever had on Twitch because I was like screaming, but I will never do it again.
That game's fucking horrifying.
But also,
and the whole time I was playing this, I just wanted it to be in VR as well.
Really quick before we talk about the game, I'm convinced that PSVR 2 will ship with, not ship with, but like Resident Evil Village will be VR with PSVR 2. I have a feeling that's going to happen.
You think so?
Yeah. Why wouldn't they?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, that was such a big thing for 7.
It was such a big thing for 7, and there's so many things in this where I'm like, they're really, creating that feeling of really moving around, kind of the sway and all that, where I'm like, I feel like this has a feeling of like, I want to play this in VR a lot. And if you have to make games separately for PSVR 2 versus PSVR 1, why invest in PSVR 1 when the second one's going to come out and they'll have more sales on that anyway? So feel like there's a chance that could happen.
Wait, did you play it in VR, Chad? The first one?
I only played the entire thing. I played it all in VR. And
Jesus Christ.
It was horrifying. Like, I swear to God, my neighbors in Chicago thought I was being murdered. But only in short spurts. I could only play it in like 90 minutes to 2 hours at a time because I would have to throw up.
Yeah, I got so nauseous playing that game.
Not throw up from motion sickness for me. That was for Holden, but throw up just out of pure terror. But like the fight with the dad or the father figure of that family where they bust through the wall and then you have the car, you're circling around the car, and then finally with the chainsaw and you're like chainsawing him in the head in first person in VR. Oh my God, some of the scariest shit.
So I think as far as I got was like I got to the scene where you sit at the table with the whole family and then everybody gets up and walks away. That's as far as I got, and I was like, I can't do this.
That's where it gets like that particular moment because you don't understand like the movement patterns of the characters in the game yet. You don't understand like that walls can be broken through. So like that point scares the shit out of you. And it's all about hiding in that point too. So it's not like you don't even have anything to defend yourself. You're just like trying not to be spotted.
I hate stealth games. I hate stealth games. So
there's also just that one really long hall, and you're like, if they see me, I can't. It's like one long hall and then to a dead end. So there's just this fear of like, they're going to come up right now, aren't they? And I'm screwed because I'm in this long hallway and there's no escape. That freaked me out. Great game.
So enough about Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil Village, this demo. It is an interesting release strategy for this demo. You can only play each demo for 30 minutes at a time and only in a specific 8-hour window, which started at like 8 p.m. on the East Coast this Saturday. And if you're PlayStation, you can play it a couple weeks early. And then if you're anyone else, you can play it in May.
Not even at a time, like 30 minutes total. So I had like 6 minutes left at the end. And I'm like, let me just play the whole demo again, see if I can do it faster or something. Because it was really enjoyable, I liked it. And he's like, nope, you have 6 minutes left. And I'm like, oh, nope. Can't do anything in 6 minutes.
Yep.
So yeah, they really locked it down.
So this demo they are specifically calling the gameplay demo. So you get hands-on with the guns and the shooting mechanics. You get to kind of get a feel for how the game plays. What were some of your first reactions in getting your hands on it? John, let's start with you.
This is a Resident Evil game. Like it felt very similar to 7. I didn't play much of 7 though, so I guess I can't talk too much on that. But the There you have the obscure puzzles, find the mural things that you have to put into the doors to open them up, and find a screwdriver to unlock this and everything, and the shooting, nail them 5 times in the head to actually kill them. So yeah, it was Resident Evil, all right.
Holden, what were your first initial thoughts?
I liked it a lot. I agree with everything John said. It's very much just more Resident Evil, which I think is a good thing because I like, the kind of new form of Resident Evil, the kind of sticking to the kind of horror roots of it. Not that I played the old games, but I like the just kind of pure horror elements to it. I feel like, though, this demo really gave me a lot of hype and excitement going into the full game, because it seems like they have a really interesting environment you're in. There seems to be really good characters. Can we do spoilers for the demo? Yeah. Can we spoil it? Yeah. Everyone dies, so I don't know if the characters are. We can expect those same kind of colorful characters going forward, but I really liked the characters a lot in this. It felt like this was going to be very similar to 7 in terms of style, but I got a sense that story is really important in this one too. And I'm very curious to kind of where it goes. I'm pumped. I like that creepy witch lady who's laughing at you, and I just like the Resident Evil character who can somehow walk through these worlds completely unscathed, and you struggle to do so. I always love. There's always that kind of character in Resident Evil games that I've seen so far, at least. Really liked it a lot. And actually, one small thing with the inventory system I liked too. The key items, the 2 plaques you get, they don't take up your inventory space for ammo and for your guns, that kind of stuff. It's separate. Oh man, that is so nice.
And neither do things like gunpowder or healing items. Those don't take up space in your inventory for crafting.
I have a question. Where does this fit in? Is this a direct sequel to Resident Evil 7?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you actually look at the Resident Evil Village logo, you know how they did the 7 thing. They did the same thing here, but technically this is Resident Evil 7.1, so it's VIL, and then the L is actually a decimal, and then 1. So instead of Resident Evil 8 Village, this is Resident Evil 7.1 Village.
And they don't usually refer to it as Resident Evil 8 either. They usually just refer to it as
never referred to
Resident
it as
Evil Village.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm fully on board. I can't wait.
I loved it. I
really
had it
like
pre-ordered
Ethan Winters.
already. Me too. I love the actor for him. I felt like even though it's first person, you don't really see his acting. I felt like his voice was really expressive. And I'm curious, Holden, you mentioned about the characters and story being important. I'm curious with the specific characters we ran into this, whether they're actually in the game or not, or whether they were just invented for the demo, because you meet them in the demo for the first time and they die before the demo ends. And Resident Evil's known for doing demos where it's not the same content that you play in the actual game. It's just something slightly different. So I wonder if we'll even see those people at all.
Yeah, what if the whole game actually takes place in the castle or just outside it, where this is right before then you just getting to the castle.
I really, really loved, I don't know what it was, the movement and the camera. I felt like this was it was the perfect amount of motion blur. It felt like there's a little bit of input lag, with you pushing the right stick and your camera turning, but it feels natural and good. And I really noticed it in this gameplay demo. I didn't notice it so much in the last one, but it feels really, really good to play, and that made me super excited as well.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. It's extremely refined, it feels. And
the gameplay, the gunplay with the... First of all, is it possible to kill those werewolves in the fucking tall grass that are spooky as hell?
You just have to keep laying into them. It takes a lot. 2
clips of my handgun and the 1 shotgun bullet, and it didn't die. So then I just assumed, I just got to run away from these guys.
After a bit, I snuck past them, so I didn't even shoot them.
I think you have to hit them in the head, because if you hit them in the head enough, like zombies, their head explodes, and then they'd fall to the ground. Yeah.
I was able to use the grass and just kind of sneak away and sneak past them. But then when I got to the door of the cabin, they were starting to come after me, but I got in quick enough.
I do want to ask, Do you guys like the Resident Evil story?
So here's
don't
my
really
question:
know what it is.
Does it really? Yeah, okay, yeah, exactly. Does it really have a story? Because
are you asking as a whole or like
As a whole, the whole series. Do you enjoy that?
I
Because
think
like,
what
I don't know. I thought Resident Evil 7 was kind of like its own thing, like in the same universe but separate.
I mean,
I
yeah,
didn't know
Chris
it
ties
Redfield
in
in it,
because
so
Umbrella is there and all that.
Yeah, they pitched it as that, and it kind of was. And then at the end of the game, like the last 20% of the game, you realize, oh fuck, it is still Umbrella behind all of this, doing all their same shady shit.
Yeah. Well, I just asked
feel like-
because werewolves and vampires feel so random to me for what the past has been for this series. Obviously, werewolves and vampires have been done by almost every horror franchise out there, so Resi had to get in at some point. But in the past, it's been zombies, biological weapons, and everything. And the last one was, I don't even know what that was.
Goo
Yeah.
monsters, the black goo.
Yeah.
But I mean, they've
now
had,
they're doing...
little lizard monsters. They've had bees and flying shit. They've had rabid dogs. They've had...
parasites, yeah. They've been all over the place, so I guess it was a matter of time. It just... I'm really excited to see the game because I love Resident Evil's whole storyline. I think it is one of the stupidest storylines you can find in video games, and I absolutely love it. I keep up to it. I really don't play through the games because, like Joel, I'm a little bitch. I am not good with horror games, but man, I love Resident Evil.
Joel called himself a baby, but you just straight up called him a bitch.
Yeah, I did.
Both apply.
I kind of feel like the overarching story doesn't matter. I feel like it's just they've created this world where they have this big corporation, which can be kind of spooky. They just kind of it creates this excuse where they can be all over the world, do experiment with different things, put werewolves in there if they want to, do Nemesis, do Mr. X, be in a police station, be in a village in Spain. I feel like they just kind of created this world where they can just have this ongoing story that goes nowhere, but it's okay because each story in and of itself is interesting. Because it's quirky and cheesy, but also scary and terrifying at the same time. I feel like it just kind of comes down to they can do whatever they want, and they're just going to.
I can't wait
I'm
till they
with
go
you
to
there
space.
until they include Chris Redfield, who's a mainstay in the series, and you're like, oh, okay, this is connecting to the past and all these other games, so there is something there.
Yeah,
That
when
guy's
did they go to
freaking
space?
arms.
But he looks different than Chris Redfield did in other games, doesn't he?
Well,
I mean,
Redfield's
he
had
looks
a couple of looks
he looks different in
based
almost
on-
every game, I think.
Yeah, Resident Evil
Okay.
5 is where they introduce like, hey, you now have the arms of a gorilla for some reason
Yeah.
on a
Punch
human-sized
this
body.
giant boulder.
So maybe it's kind of like Zelda, where like it's Link, but it's a new version of Link each time. It's not really connected. Nintendo will say there's this huge timeline for Zelda, but we all know that's just an afterthought excuse, and
Just
they really
the
just
same
focus on
story
making one
over
game
and
at a
over.
time.
You mean Shigeru
Yeah.
Miyamoto didn't plan for Breath of the Wild back in 1986?
Oh, he 100% did. And Miyamoto's a genius, so I'll never say anything bad about him.
All right.
So I think we're all pretty excited for it, Joel especially, to play Resident Evil 8 in VR whenever it does eventually come to VR. There's another demo coming next week, the Castle demo. I know I'm going to play it. Holden, you said you're not. You just want to now experience the game.
Yeah.
John, are you going to play the next demo?
I might. I mean, it's a demo. I might as well download it and give it a try. Is it another half-hour thing?
It's another
Yeah.
half-hour thing, and then in 2 weeks, you can then play either of the demos for a full hour.
Gotcha.
Oh, you have to choose either or?
No, you have an hour to spend however much you want between the two demos. So you can play 45
Gotcha,
in one
okay.
and 15 in another, or all an hour in
don't-
one.
What a
In
weird
the village one, I don't know
demo.
how much content there would really be because it once you get through the door and you put the two like emblems in there, it just cut off anyway. I don't think like
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
also exactly where my timer went out. Like he pushed the door open. It's like time's up.
Yeah,
like,
no,
oh.
that,
so
that
yeah,
is the end.
you push the door open and then he like looks up to the castle and it's kind of like looming in the haze.
and then a trailer plays.
And then a trailer plays, yeah. So yeah, I don't. The thing is, all right. Question, John. I don't know if we came up with an answer, Chad, but John, the first demo, the 10-minute one, was that the castle or was that somewhere else in the village?
That's got to be the castle, right? I mean, what?
Yeah, I think it could be.
Yeah, because
but-
you're in like the cellar of the castle with the cells and the jails and all them, and the pudding and the jello and.
And why would all those women be somewhere else? I
Yeah, women
I
are
just,
always
I
in
just get the
castles.
impression that they're always in that castle. I don't know why.
I have that impression too. I just don't know if we've been told explicitly yet. So I kind of feel like there's so much building up to this castle that I'm like, you know what? I don't want to see any more about the castle. I want to just experience that build up and get to it in the game. I had this like imaginary moment in my head where like you're walking up to the castle for the first time. I go through the doors and your heart's like pounding. You're like, oh my god, it's been built up the whole game. It's death filled throughout. I want that moment. I don't want to get it ruined. And it might have already been. But Chad in our text chat, he did the Men in Black memory wipe, so I don't even remember anything I'm talking about.
It's gone now. Yeah.
It's gone now.
One thing I do want to try with the next one in the castle demo. You can turn the demo itself on PS5 is by default 4K 45 frames a second with ray tracing. But you could switch it to 4K 60 from the main menu. But I didn't bother doing all of that because of the time limit. I was like, I don't want to exit the main menu, waste time changing it, and then jump back into the game. But I might do that with the castle one just to see how the game feels in 60 frames a second without ray tracing and what that looks like.
Yeah.
Dope.
It ran really
we are
smooth.
over an hour.
So I might keep it that way.
Yeah.
Because I'm usually sticking with 60 frames per second in lieu of ray tracing, but that was so smooth, I might just keep ray tracing.
I also don't know if I can tell the difference between 45 a second and 60 a second. So
yeah.
I can't tell the difference between 30 and 60, so.
I can definitely tell the difference between 30 and 60, but
Yeah.
I don't know about 45 and 60. We've spent over an hour, and we're just now getting to our quest log, y'all. And we've got a subscriber interrogative and a game on game show. Good thing our quest log is short as hell today. Let's start with Nintendo. There was a Nintendo Indie World Showcase. All the games and trailers of Steve Watts at GameSpot. We have a long list of shit that was shown off, but I don't want to mention everything that was in there. I want you guys to just talk about what might have excited you or what you thought looked dumb.
Oxenfree 2, baby!
I've never played Oxenfree.
Oxenfree's
neither
great,
have I.
and it's on Game Pass, I think.
I think so, too.
Their second one about drinking with the devil is on Game Pass, so I assume Oxenfree is on Game
After
Pass as
Party.
well.
That one's okay, but Oxenfree is special, man. That is such a good game. It's also a game. It's one of those games where I played through and I was so engrossed in it that I was like, oh man, I have to play this again. And I played through it 3 different times in a row, just to 100% it. But one of the coolest things is that I was not expecting at all. Every time you play through the game, it affects the story. Like, there are different aspects of the game. I don't want to give away spoilers, but Chad, you've played it, right?
Yeah, I didn't realize that subsequent playthroughs.
You know how there is like some kind of mind fucky shit in that game, right? Mm-hmm. There are times where like you'll be going through it and your character will be like, "Wait, haven't I seen this before?" And you're like, "Shit, dude! I want to talk about it, but
That's
I can't."
awesome.
It's so good. Play it.
Yeah, that was like their one more thing. Like, all right, we're done now. And then they spend like 20 seconds. Most people turn it off, and then they go, just kidding. Here's Oxenfree 2.
Yeah.
Aerial Knights Never Yield looked pretty cool to me, too. Just the
remember
art
what that
style
one was.
looked cool. It was the one where it was like developed in Detroit, but it had a cool art style. It was one of the first games they showed. I think the second or third one.
Oh, yes. That one had a really cool art style. I also remember liking Chris Tales, but I was like, I know that game made me feel things in a good way, but I don't remember anything about it. So I'm going to look that up real quick, too. All in all, successful, unsuccessful, thumbs up, thumbs down, poop.
Fez was there.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
Fez.
That's it.
Fez. Everyone was wearing
was
tiny
fun.
little Fez hats.
Indie World is just one of those things where I'm really glad Nintendo does it,
Yeah.
but it is what it is. It's a bunch of indie games, so like I'm excited for them. Awesome.
Anyone a huge TMNT fan? Excited by Shredder's Revenge coming to Switch?
I mean, I'll probably play that on Xbox or something.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to include D'Angelo, so why would I bother to play that version of the game?
D'Angelo.
Or D'Angelo.
Oh, yeah. Go. Okay. So it sounds like it was an indie direct. Awesome. Yeah, go check that out if you're interested. I think we'll move on. Third-party quest log. Here's where we get good shit, y'all. Bioshock is one of maybe my favorite game franchise of all time.
It's up there with me.
It's so good. It's so good. I've now
so much.
platinumed all 3 games as well. All right, Bioshock 4 to be open
two.
world and have ambitious AI per job listing, says Chandler Wood at PlayStation Lifestyle. So we know the game's in development. We've known that for a little bit now. According to the job listing, here are a few things about it. The game will feature an open world design separate from Rapture and Columbia, but there's always a lighthouse. There will be a living open world. AI will include an urban crowd system that pushes the envelope of what's possible with interactive crowd systems. It's obviously going to be in first person since that's Bioshock's heritage. There will be fully interactive set pieces that integrate with the AI. You will, of course, have guns and powers again. And then this last quote, it says, combine handcrafted set pieces with emerging AI behavior to create a living world that offers players variety at every step of the game. So, John, you're a Bioshock fan. Anyone else here a Bioshock fan? I know, Holden, you like it.
I mean, I
like it a lot. I just didn't like Bioshock Infinite as much as everyone else did.
I'm a baby.
Well, you're wrong. That's okay.
I literally got scared playing Bioshock 1. I think I played like 2 hours of it.
That game's scary, especially in the beginning.
It is
You come up in the bathysphere, and then
Dude, those
the
big
little
daddies,
fucking
is
thing
that what they're
crawls on
called?
the-
Big daddies?
And
Yeah,
also
big daddies.
You pick up the thing from the table and turn around, and there's a guy right in your face.
Scary.
All you have is a wrench at the beginning, and your electric powers is like, I'm pumped as shit for this. I feel like this is a little bit like the set pieces with the AI kind of makes me think about how they started to play with pulling things in from other dimensions in Bioshock Infinite, and it's kind of an extension of that, which gets me pumped. I'm curious what they're talking about with the crowd AI, like interactive crowd systems, because I don't remember really crowds in this game.
That tells me so, and we know it's going to be a new city. It's probably going to be something not like
Royale.
a typical city, but we know it won't be underwater. It won't be in the sky. Who knows? Maybe it'll be in a volcano. Let's say that. And all I get from that is you'll just be like walking through the city and people will be like interacting and stuff. That's all I get out of it.
My dream location for this game, and this might go too much into System Shock territory, I don't know, but I want it to be like on a moon base or like a base on Mars or something like that, where it has this huge like glass like dome over the city to protect it from the elements, and it's just this like self-contained like city. I think that would be really, really cool. It would kind of create that isolation. And I feel like it kind of ties into the whole like Rapture thing of like it's separate from society. They can do whatever they want there. I think that would work really well in that kind of environment. In Bioshock Infinite, one of the things I liked a lot about that game, because I didn't hate it, I just didn't like the ending of it. But one of the things I liked about that game was that it was, you got to see the downfall of that city. You get to see the downfall of Columbia kind of playing out. I think that's kind of where the crowd system plays into here. That tells me that we're not going to be in the post-apocalyptic version of one of these cities. It's either going to be in the middle of its city and we see its downfall, or just in the middle of the city itself, and that's cool. I think I prefer that kind of style. Really, really excited about that. I'm actually probably most excited about that. I think an open world would work well with Bioshock, especially if there's this kind of changing element to the city over time as the world starts to change. Like, what does that mean with AI? Does that mean that certain things that you do in the city will have different impacts for other players than it would for you than it would for other players? Like, what does that mean with like machine learning potentially? I think there's a lot of really cool potential for something like this.
Yeah, I'm pumped as hell. I'm just happy that we're getting... I mean, this isn't news. It's not like they release a press release. It's a job listing. But I'm happy that we're starting to get little
details. Yeah. I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic because I love Bioshock so much. And it will be interesting to see how a game post Ken Levine does in the series.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, Bioshock 2 was still pretty good, and Minerva's Den was
2 was
excellent,
good. I definitely
and
liked
those were
it.
not Ken Levine.
But I don't know, the whole open world thing. Just I'm tired of big open world games with crafting systems and everything. I'm tired of them.
Yeah, I hear you.
It is what it
If
is.
it's like a really small like open world where it's more about being really familiar with this small place, I think that would work well. But I agree, if it's this like sprawling landscape that's so against what Bioshock is, it wouldn't work. I totally agree with you.
That was one of the... So the city is pretty much its own character in the Bioshock games, and Rapture was small and enclosed because you're under the ocean with all these psychos and everything. Like, that is an important aspect of the game. If you just widen that up, you're taking that whole factor out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's move on. Joel, I know you mentioned at the beginning of the podcast that you are not a pickle person, but hopefully this next story tickles your pickle. The first Oculus Gaming Showcase is taking place on April 21st. Adam Bankhurst at IGN says, we're going to learn a little bit more about what's coming down the pipeline for Oculus Quest 2, which has only been getting some really awesome press, like best-selling Oculus headset, or sold more than every other Oculus headset combined, which is really great. We've already heard, thanks to the Resident Evil showcase, that Resident Evil 4 will be in VR, exclusive to Oculus, and we're going to get more info at that event as well. And then we know there's going to be some Star Wars stuff, Lone Echo 2, and some surprises as well.
I mean, they just announced that you could play your Quest 2 wirelessly to your PC now.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah. That link, but what do they call it? Airstream or Airlink or something like that?
Yeah, I don't remember what it's called.
Which makes me think that if PSVR 2 comes out and there's no wireless option, even with like an additional peripheral or something like that, it's like, if I can link my Oculus Quest 2 to a PC and play PC level VR at 120 hertz.
You don't have
but
a
I
PC.
have to sacrifice my life to Facebook in order to gain an Oculus, so.
Yeah, true.
We also have a new Nintendo Switch Lite color was revealed, launching next month, says Liana Rupert at Game Informer. It's blue-ish. It's like navy blue.
It's like a weird in-between of like blue and purple, right?
Yeah, like an indigo.
Yeah.
Like the color of the rainbow they always leave out on rainbows.
Strange choice to come out with another one, I'd say.
And just one. Like they had teal, which was like kind of a bluish green. But like usually when you see refreshes in colors, it's like, here are like 3 new colorways that might be replacing our old ones or something like that.
Well, those 3 colors that was also the launch of the Switch Lite.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, and then later on they came out with the coral one, which is like a pink.
I forgot about that one.
Coral.
Coral. No, yeah. They came out with the coral one, and now they have this new one. But I don't know. Weird.
Just show me that Switch Pro.
Switch Pro con leche. Speaking of, go to youtube.com/whatever our extension is and check out The Grind, where we say there is no Switch Pro. Returnal's latest trailer introduces enemies of all varieties, says Rebecca Smith at PlayStation Lifestyle. This sold me on the game. Honestly, watched this and I was like, I don't even care if it's a fucking roguelite. These enemies look awesome as shit, and the arcadey elements are still there somehow. Even in like you could tell it was Housemarque that's making this game, even though it's like 3D boss combat. Anyone else pumped for Returnal? Got Returnal fans? I know Holden's like not into it.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I'll see how it plays out. Maybe I'll get it. There's just a lot of games I need to play this year, and it's just not at the forefront.
Yeah,
it's a maybe.
But I mean, if you don't buy it at full price, you might as well not even buy it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, if you don't buy it at full price, fuck off. 2 more stories here before we get into our subscriber interrogative. The Last of Us TV series casts Gabriel Luna as Joel's younger brother, says Liana Rupert at Game Informer. This is the previously seen in Terminator Dark Fate, not Date Fate.
No, Date Fate, yeah. Date Fate.
Terminator Dark Fate.
I like Date Fate. That's really funny.
As the Terminator. I thought he was actually pretty good in that. And then Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Rosewood. I'm really only familiar with him from Dark Fate. But great.
Never seen either. Cool.
It's closer to real. And then finally, Mario Kart 8 becomes the best-selling racing game in U.S. history, says Liam Doolin at Nintendo Life, according to NPD.
What did it pass?
Hell yeah.
What was number 2, Holden? I didn't actually click on the link.
Yeah. What did it pass?
My guess, without seeing the list, my guess would be Mario Kart Wii, right?
Yeah,
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
maybe.
combined sales overtake the Wii entry. Yeah, it was the Wii version.
Okay.
All right,
I was
Mario
like,
Kart now has
was
1,
it-
2, and probably the next 10 slots.
Yeah. Yeah, every Mario Kart game is at the top of the list.
What's going to beat it? Project Gotham Racing 3?
Hey, great game. I loved PGR 3.
I mean, I love Project Gotham Racing on regular Xbox, but...
I'm just ready for Mario Kart 9. Come on, Nintendo. Stop playing with your shit.
You know, I don't want Mario Kart 9, actually. I want Nintendo Kart. I want, like, our Smash Kart, or I want, like, the full Nintendo roster. I want, like, Smash Bros, but for racing.
I mean, yeah, that's fine.
I mean, yeah, but, like,
I just
next
want
Mario
a new
Kart
game. That's all I want.
Off the top of your head, Nintendo Kart, what's the roster look like? Different than what's already there?
Well, because you could include, if they're treating it like Smash Bros, you could include characters from different franchises that aren't even from
Yeah, I'm
Nintendo to
asking
begin
you,
with.
who do you want? Who do you want on it?
Oh, I would want, like, Samus to be there. That would be really cool. I think having, like, Pokemon in the carts would be really awesome. Having, like, a Game & Watch in the cart would be really cool.
Samus can only drive with one hand because she's got the
Like,
cannon.
Samus could ride in her ship she has in Metroid Prime. Like, that would be so cool. I would love to see that kind of stuff. I mean,
And she could use
have
her little
kind of crazy
thing
that
to
they
like
didn't-
pull people.
It's kind
Yeah.
of crazy that they didn't include Captain Falcon in 8 Deluxe since they have the F-Zero tracks. And then I also think they have the Blue Falcon in there.
Mm-hmm. It'd be cool.
All right, boys.
Oh, they wouldn't
we
have changed a lot. I just realized, who said the whole pulling, Samus pulling?
me. That was me. That was my brilliant idea.
You made me think through it for a second. They did Smash Card. They'd have to change it up. Like, maybe you don't get items, or if you get items, they're tied to your character specifically. So, like, there's character-specific moves in Smash. You'd have, like, items that are specific to the characters that would kind of help you decide which character
they do
to
that
be.
in,
They actually might have to change a lot.
Mario Kart on the phone. Everyone has their own specific, unique move as a character.
Oh. Smash Kart confirmed, Chad. It's confirmed now.
All right, we got two
Messi
fun
Hero
things before we
Sakurai.
wrap today. Two fun things. First one is a subscriber interrogative, which is something we haven't done in a long time. But if you have a question that you would love for us to answer or something like that, usually go to affableidiots.com, and there's a little spot where you can submit. We had one come through our chat in twitch.tv/affableidiots, watching live right now. DF and Smitty sent us an image. Now, for those of you who are on the podcast right now, Holden, Joel, John, me, in our Google Doc, we have that image for you to look at. I just now put it onto the stream so anyone watching can see. But the question basically comes down to a choice between two stacks of VHS movies.
Before we
Stack
get to
A
this, I have a question.
and
How
Stack
did
B.
they get a Captain America and Iron Man VHS?
Yeah, I was confused
Those are
with
the
it too.
old Captain America VHSs, I'm sure. I don't think that's the new
No,
movie.
That is the new one.
That's
yeah.
modern
That's the new
day,
one.
yeah.
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 I
Like,
wonder
look
how
at the
much
Iron
that
Man.
VHS
That's the
goes
Tony
for.
Stark Iron Man, 100%.
Yeah.
Or that's the Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man. It's all the Tony Stark Iron Man.
That was 2007 that came out? You think VHS
yeah.
They probably still did have a VHS release of Iron Man, at least.
Not Captain America, though.
I don't know. Captain America
that
was
was only
only
a
like a
couple
year
years
later.
later.
Too. No, it was after Incredible Hulk.
Well, Incredible
Either way,
Hulk was the
I-
same year.
Either way, I have some stuff to say about these stacks here, all right?
All right,
I would
hold on.
ar-
For anyone listening, let me go through real quick what's in each stack. Stack A,
Okay.
you're eating Reese's Pieces is your candy. The movies are Liar Liar, Hook, Gremlins, Batman, Mighty Ducks. What is that?
A League of Their Own.
Is it? Oh, A League of Their Own, Jurassic Park, Die Hard, Fright Night, Ghostbusters, Monster Squad, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Iron Man, Shawshank Redemption, and The Breakfast Club. B, if you choose B, you're eating peanut M&Ms like a bitch. The Mask, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Goodfellas, Back to the Future, Karate Kid, Ghost, Raiders of the Lost Ark, The Lost Boys, Mrs. Doubtfire, Tombstone, The Goonies, Friday the 13th Part 3, Captain America, Halloween, Stand By Me. Joel, what are you
All
thinking?
right. So here's my issue with these two stacks here. Is I would argue that some of those movies could be better or worse depending on what you're eating, right? If you're eating something you hate,
Go on, explain yourself.
if you're eating something you hate but you love the movie, you'd be like,
Oh.
that was a terrible experience.
But you're specifically
here's-
eating Reese's Pieces or M&Ms, right?
Yeah, one or the
Right.
other. Here's my problem though. I'm allergic to peanuts.
Good.
Well, we have to
So
sacrifice Joel.
Good.
We
Joel's
have
not
to
invited
sacrifice-
to movie night.
I'm not invited, I guess. But no, honestly, if I could, I'd choose A for me personally. I am allergic to peanuts as of like 6 years ago, but before then I was never allergic to peanuts, and I used to eat the fuck out of Reese's cups, and it's the one thing I miss most.
I'm an A kid too. Obviously, Reese's Pieces, it's mostly for the candy because I was a hefty young
Yes.
child and Reese's and peanut butter all over my face. So that's really why I'm choosing A, is because of the candy. But also, Liar Liar and Hook. Jurassic Park. That's really, like, when I saw Jurassic Park in that list, I'm like, nothing else in that other list really compares. Maybe Goodfellas, but it's still not as cool as Jurassic Park. Shawshank, Iron Man's better than Captain America, so, like... Yeah. A for me.
Yeah.
This is really tough. So I just went through and I just crossed out all the movies and I don't care about, and then counted up which one I had more movies I cared about, and I ended up with B. But you're right. Jurassic Park, it's classic. And there's not really a movie on the right that, like, is equal to that. Like, I love Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I can watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off anytime, any place. It's one of my favorites. But it's not like, it's very different than Jurassic Park. You can't, like, compare those movies. I'm not going to be like, oh, am I in the mood for Jurassic Park or Ferris Bueller's Day Off? It's never a debate I'm going to have. But there's less movies in the A list that I care about. But then there are some ones I really like, too. Like Liar Liar. I like Liar Liar better than The Mask. I just do. Liar Liar is the best. It's my favorite Jim Carrey movie. Breakfast Club is also so good. It's tough, but I'm going to go B. And also candy, not a factor here for me. Because I don't like Reese's Pieces. Because anytime I eat Reese's Pieces, I think, wow, Reese's peanut butter or M&M's peanut butter is just so much better. There's no debate. Way better. And I can't eat Reese's Pieces and not think about how they're just inferior to Reese's M&M's peanut butter. And then peanut M&M's.
How can you not eat peanut M&Ms and think, man, peanut butter M&Ms are so much better than peanut M&Ms?
Because I'm too overwhelmed with the thought of how much I hate peanut M&Ms that doesn't even cross my mind.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. Also, Mrs. Doubtfire is on B list. And Mrs. Doubtfire is another childhood classic of mine. Love that movie. It's a good one.
For me, I probably go with A. When it comes to the candy, I don't really care. I'm not much of a candy either, especially at movies. I prefer popcorn. I could go with either Reese's or M&M's. I don't really care. The one thing that like really makes me lean towards B though is The Mask, because I'm a huge Jim Carrey fan, and The Mask is my favorite Jim Carrey movie. I also really enjoy Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but everything else in A, man, is just so good. I love Liar Liar. Hook is one of Robin Williams' best, but of course you do have Mrs. Doubtfire, which is also a gem. I am a massive Tim Burton fan as well, so Batman, that catches me hard. It gets me really hard too, let me tell you.
I get hard, then I get caught.
You just see those nipples in the suit and you can't resist.
Well, that's a different one, but still.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's Batman and Robin.
Oh, that's George Clooney, isn't it?
Yeah, that's George Clooney.
Gotcha, okay. All right.
Yeah, also, I'm not much of a Back to the Future fan. I think it's a little overrated. Fight me, I guess. I just never really cared about it. But yeah, Jurassic Park, League of Their Own, Gremlins, man, I would watch those any day.
I think the reason I don't connect as much with the B list of movies is because I haven't seen the ones that I feel like people are most passionate about, like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Back to the Future, Karate Kid. I've only seen the Jaden Smith Karate Kid. I haven't seen Ghost. So I don't have any kind of love for half of those movies that everyone's super excited about. So
Ferris Bueller's Day Off, you guys see that at some point. Classic.
Yeah, I know. They're on my list of shame. I just watched Rocky for the first time this year and was really appalled that there was an enormous rape scene that nobody warned me about. Yeah. So I'm kind of hesitant to watch.
I've never seen Rocky, so that's really surprising to hear. Isn't it PG? Yeah. I thought it was PG.
Yeah, and there's a big old non-consensual rape scene in it.
Holy shit! Okay. All right,
I don't know that. I've never seen it either.
In the 80s, they wouldn't have considered it rape, but that doesn't mean it wasn't rape.
Yeah. Great movie.
Right.
Like when you watch, I don't know.
So I'm scared to go back and watch these 80s movies and feel like everyone's just getting raped in these movies, and I don't want to see Little Karate Kid or Michael J. Fox as in Back to the Future get raped.
Yeah. Well, I'll say that as a pro of Ferris Bueller's Day Off, there is no rape in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Okay.
None. So that's a plus for that.
Oh, you haven't seen the deleted scenes, have you?
They don't have those on the VHS. All right, let's move on to Game On Game Show. The game on our game show, we play a game called Game On, the gaming show on our game show. Game. We have a game that I've been wanting to do for a while that we played once that didn't work too well with just Holden and I. But I'm so glad that we have guests on. Again, go to affableidiots.com to be on You're the Guest. We're playing Is Resident Evil good? It's the name of the game today. And
Yes.
I have compiled
We're done.
I have compiled a list of the mainline, or what Wikipedia considers the mainline Resident Evil games, in addition to the 3 remakes of these games. And I have their Metacritic scores here. So the object of the game is for you to guess what the Metacritic score is of each entry in the series. And then at the end, we'll find out who was furthest off as a whole. And then also, kind of as you guess, we'll take the average of all of your guesses and decide, did you actually think Resident Evil was good? So here's how it works. Obviously, these games were all released on a trillion different platforms. So I have compiled the list based on whichever platform was released first. And then if they were released simultaneously on platforms, I've taken the highest available score of those platforms. So that's how it's going to run.
So what you're saying is we won't see Resident Evil 2 on the Gizmondo here.
Correct.
What's the Gizmondo?
I have no idea.
Terrible phone gaming system.
Gizmondo. I'm
They
Googling
made a
this.
Resident Evil 2 game where it was they cut out the Claire side of the story. It was all in black and white. It played worse than a Game Boy. It was brilliant, let me tell you.
That
I'm presuming this came out before the iPhone came out, so this is also a really spectacular phone.
This is like late 90s, I think.
No, it came out in 2005.
Really terrible phone.
2005?
What'd you say, Joel?
Yeah, the Gizmondo is a handheld gaming console developed by Tiger Telematics. It was released in the UK, Sweden, and the US starting in March 2005.
I might be thinking of the wrong console. Give me a second here.
Are you thinking of N-Gage?
Maybe.
You come in here just to spread lies on our podcast and
This
get us
is
banned?
what I do. Go watch Pixelstreet Podcast. That's the better podcast.
N-Gage came out in 2003, which isn't that much sooner. And man, looking back at this thing, what a fucking monstrosity of a device. It's like 75% buttons, like 15% screen, the rest plastic.
Let's get started. We're gonna snake through this thing. So we're gonna start going Holden, John, Joel, and then the next one will go Joel, John, Holden.
Real quick, it was the game.com, not the Gizmondo.
That's a terrible. That's an even
was the
worse
name of a system?
Yeah, it is. Hold on.
Basically, what that means is there's a bunch of 60-year-old dudes in the marketing room going, "The kids, what do they like this day? The internet?
Yeah.
Let's just call it the .com."
The game.com
That's what
is a
that is.
5th generation handheld game console released by Tiger Electronics in August 1997. And yeah, it only played in black and white.
Woof.
Look it up, kids.
All right, starting with Holden, the original Resident Evil, not director's cut, the original Resident Evil in 1996, released on the PlayStation. Holden, what do you guess this Metacritic score is?
It's a big deal when that game came out. But I feel like this is Metacritic, you're saying?
Yep, Metacritic.
They didn't. All right. I guess what my struggle there is how are they getting those reviews from Metacritic? Are they looking at old magazines? Are they looking at reviews from later on in the game? I don't know.
I don't know.
So
I don't know.
I'm going to say 83. I feel like it probably deserves higher than that, but I don't know. I'm feeling weird.
John, what's your guess
Feeling
on
weird
Resident
about it.
Evil?
Is this the Japanese or American?
The original one, which I believe was Japan.
All right, so we're talking Japanese. I want to say there were a few differences in that one, but I can't think of them. Maybe I'm thinking of a different Resi game. My guess is 69. A nice 69.
Fuck yeah. Joel, what did Resident Evil score on Metacritic?
I'm going to guess 78.
78. So Resident Evil got a 91 on Metacritic.
Damn.
So Holden came
I
out
was
of that
going to
with
guess
only
90,
8
but I'm
points
like,
difference.
it's too high.
Yeah.
Damn.
Holden's
I was
8
thinking
off.
87.
Joel, you were 13 off. And John, you are 22 off. So John, you are not
What
starting
was my
as
guess
well.
again? 83?
Yeah, so you're 8 points off.
Okay.
All right. Starting with Joel this time. Resident Evil 2, 1998. Again on PlayStation.
95.
95, okay. John?
93.
93. Holden?
I'm going to go way different than you guys here. I'm going to say 94.
Oh, shit.
That's completely different than what we said. So
That is
John
Completely different.
Totally
It is a different
redeemed
number.
himself. It was an 89. So John came out closest with that one. Next up, we are moving to
Wait,
Resident
what was the
Evil
first one
3.
again? 92?
91 for the
91.
first one.
91? Wow, I really thought that the second one was received better. Okay.
Yeah.
that's what I thought.
You
That's
think
how
it would
I
be too because it
remember
was
it
a
as
clear
well.
improvement with Nemesis, with Mr. X and all that, and yeah.
So the difference there was 5 points for Holden difference, 4 points for John difference, 6 points for Joel difference. All right, Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, starting with Holden. Now there's a caveat to this one. It's 1999, but there is no review score for the PlayStation version for some reason. So the review score is coming from the 2000 Dreamcast version, which was the next available one.
I didn't even know it came
I don't
out
know.
on Dreamcast.
I don't know how that changes things because I'm not very familiar with the
Yeah.
Dreamcast. Like
I
was
had
that
a
known for
Dreamcast.
shitty ports? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
The
I was thinking,
Dreamcast-
I was like, did things run better on Dreamcast than PlayStation? I don't.
Well, don't
know.
tell me,
I will-
John, because it'll help me. Don't say anything.
Okay.
But I am curious what you have when you get to you if your thoughts are. I'm gonna say 85.
85, all right?
85.
John,
Yeah.
you're up.
I was going to say 85 too, so to be different.
You can say 85 as well if you want.
But that's Holden's land. Oh, 86.
86. Joel.
87.
Ooh, Holden wins again. It's a 79 for Resident Evil 3 Nemesis.
Okay.
So, there's a difference of 6, 7, and 8 points there. Right now, we're 3 out of 13 games. Holden's winning. We're going by golf rules. You have to be closest to 0. Holden's winning with 19. Joel, you're right behind at 27. I don't know if that's right behind. But 33 is John's score.
Making a comeback.
All right. The next one, which apparently is a mainline game that I didn't know, Resident Evil Code Veronica. Now, there's another caveat here. There's another caveat. This was released in 2000 on Dreamcast first, but again, no review score. So we're going with the 2001 PS2 version.
Well, PS2 is a terrible console, so I'm gonna say 54. Just kidding. Don't put that down.
No,
said it.
Joel.
He
Joel's
said
next.
it.
Joel's next.
It's me
Joel's
first.
next.
I'm first.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
first. I'm gonna say 87.
87. Ooh, same one. Back to back. John.
76.
I was gonna say 77.
77 it is. All right. And the Metacritic score is 84. Woo!
Okay.
So Joel.
That's one I don't know much about.
All
Yeah,
I
I
know is
know
I
nothing about it.
I saw that game damn near everywhere. I know what the cover looks like. It's got the chick on the front, right?
Yeah, that's about all I
don't
know
know.
about that game.
Is her name Veronica?
Like-
Maybe.
I have no idea.
I think
I
it's
just know
Claire.
that the cover looks like. Her name's not even Veronica.
It's probably like Nikki.
I think it's Claire Redfield on the front.
See? All right. Next up is
Let me
Resident
look it up
Evil
on Metacritic
0.
really quickly. I'll find out.
No, don't. Don't go to Metacritic. Resident Evil 0, which was the prequel to the first one, originally released on GameCube in 2002, and that is the score that we have today as well. Holden, what did the GameCube version of Resident Evil 0 get?
81.
81. All right. John?
79.
Joel?
87.
87. You like that number. It is an 83 was the score for that one, which puts it so far as the second lowest rated game in the series. So far.
Okay, I was going to say that's a bit of a...
not of all time. All right, so
Highest
we're 3 more
scoring
in.
Resident Evil 6, obviously.
So we're 3 more in with this next one, so we'll give an update to scores after this. This is Resident Evil 4. Came out in 2005 on GameCube. Joel, what did it get?
95.
95. All right. John?
90.
90. Holden?
93.
93. The correct answer is 96. Almost right on the nose, Joel.
Very good.
Yeah, that is so far the best reviewing one.
Never played
on our
it,
game.
but I know everybody loves it.
That one is great, yeah.
The Delta has closed, everyone. So far, our rankings are we're just under halfway through. Holden's still in first place with 31 points. Joel is now right behind him with 35 points. John's got 51.
Yeah!
All right, Resident Evil 5 came out in 2009 on PS3, Xbox 360, and PC, all at the same time. We are using the PC score since it was the highest of the three.
Okay.
Holden's first?
77?
77? John, what's up?
I love this game, and I'm afraid I'm going to oversell it. 82.
82. Joel.
I'm going to go 79. I remember I played it co-op and I loved it, but I remember it not being that good of a game.
I had a blast playing it co-op.
I really
freaking
enjoyed
loved
that
it.
game. Yeah.
And so did the critics. 86 was the score
Really?
on Metacritic. Yeah.
Interesting.
I remember it being not as well reviewed as it actually ended up getting.
Yeah, that was my memory of it too.
Okay.
All right. Next up, Resident Evil 6. Again, released
Oh,
on...
baby.
This was on PS3 and Xbox 360. It was not released on PC until the following year. So we're going with the 2012 PS3 version of Resident Evil 6.
This couldn't be a worse one for me to be first on, because this is the one I can't even picture this one in my head at all.
It is.
This is three different scenarios. One of them is like with Wesker, one of them is with Leon, and one of them is with Chris Redfield, I think.
Nope,
Yeah.
never.
I never played it.
Solely based on John's reaction to this, I'm gonna guess 72.
72 for Joel. John?
This game is a mess, and I really don't like it. 65.
65, all right. Holden, what did Resident Evil 6 get on PS3?
So I was thinking Resident Evil 5 would be lower bar at 77, but I was very wrong. But I'm thinking now maybe it's still Resident Evil. Maybe it wasn't reviewed like so badly. As I'm thinking, I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna say 75. I'm not very confident in that though.
The winner of this round is Joel because the score was 73. Joel guessed 72.
Let's go.
This makes it the lowest game so far on our game.
Not a good game. Don't play it.
All right. One more before we update the rankings. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. We've talked about it a lot tonight. It originally released on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. We are using the PS4 and Xbox One score because they both scored the same, and it was higher than the PC score. So in 2017, Holden, what did Resident Evil 7 get?
87.
87. John.
89.
89. Joel.
88.
88. Ooh. The score was 86. Holden came closest.
Very close.
1 point away. All right. Here's our updates so far. We only have 3 left after this. In first place, still Holden with 43.
Damn, I gotta be
Joel
close.
got even closer. He's at 45. And John
this
is
is
way
really
at
tight now.
66. Like something's going to
Just
go
having my
horribly
own
wrong
party.
for John to get it. All right, that's the end of the currently released main game series. Now we are going to the 3 main remakes. Starting with Resident Evil Remake in 2002 on GameCube.
Oh, interesting.
Joel, I believe you're up.
Can you tell me what Resident Evil ranked when we first started?
The very
What
first Resident Evil?
Yeah, yeah.
If you think back 10 minutes ago, it scored a 91 on Metacritic. The original one did.
So I'm gonna guess 93.
93, okay. John?
95.
95. And Holden?
I'm gonna take a different approach here. Sometimes the remakes don't review as well because it doesn't have that same like allure. So I'm gonna say 87 again.
87. Sometimes they remake a game and it makes you say, wow, this is exactly how I imagined it was all those years ago, even though it's maybe not looking that way today. So we got the exact same score of 91. meaning that Joel is closest.
I
Joel,
thought
you
that
have
one
now
was
overtaken the lead.
received even better than the first one.
I kind of remember that as well, but
Yeah.
I guess when you average all the scores together. We currently have a tie for first place at 47 points between Holden
Here we go.
and John.
Here we
Just
go.
kidding, it's Joel.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 2 Remake came out in 2019, released for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Xbox score is used here as it was significantly higher than the other two.
Interesting.
Holden, you're up. Wait, no, stop. Is that right?
I don't know.
Yes.
I think,
Holden,
I think,
you're up.
I think Holden went last, yeah.
92.
92.
Yeah, 92.
John?
This is Resi 2.
Resi 2 Remake.
89.
9. Joel?
I don't know. 91.
91. Joel just lost the tie for the lead because the game scored a 93 on Metacritic. Holden guessed 92. This is anyone's game. Before we answer the final question, here are the standings. Holden has 48 points and is in the lead. Joel has 49 points and is right behind. John is at 74.
I'm in it, baby.
The final game on the list, Resident Evil 3 Remake. Released in 2020 on PS4, Xbox One, and PC. We are again using the Xbox One score as our Metacritic. Joel, what did Resident Evil 3
Can I
Remake
ask
get?
a really important question here that will help Joel out too?
Sure.
Is Resident Evil Resistance reviewed separately?
Resident Evil, the multiplayer component?
Yeah,
I don't know.
because they were technically both bundled together. So that's the same review.
I did not look. I just typed in Resident Evil 3 Remake, hit, most recent
Okay.
game, and then...
I feel like that's relevant, but this is going to be really tough to guess then.
I'm going to guess 92.
92 from Joel. John,
83.
83.
I'm
Holden.
going to say 84. I would go lower if I knew Resident Evil Resistance was in there, but I'm assuming it's probably not because it's like a separate game even on PSN. But it is bundled together.
The results of this final one place John in finally last place for the entire game.
Yes.
It places
High score, high
Joel
score.
in second place and Holden in
Damn.
first place because the game was exactly 84, which was Holden's guess.
Oh, wow.
Was that
So-
reviewed with the multiplayer, though? I'm curious.
I don't
now.
know. Let's look it up right now.
Yeah, I'm really
IDK
curious about
LFO.
that.
I really don't think
Alright.
so, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I'm thinking probably not either, but I'm like, if it was reviewed with multiplayer, it'd be closer to like a 71 probably. And even that's high because Resistance was awful. It was really, really bad.
The new multiplayer is going to be pretty bad, too.
Yeah,
Resident
absolutely.
Evil
yeah.
Resistance. If I just look up Resident Evil Resistance on Metacritic, the only one that actually has a score is PS4, and it's 14 reviews. So I don't think that was actually reviewed separately. On
Okay.
Xbox One, it does not have any reviews. PC does not. So I imagine they were bundled in together. So here's a little insight. On average, Resident Evil games on Metacritic scored an 86.25, which means, yeah, they're pretty good games. Question is, do you think they're good? John, of everyone,
I'm
thinks they're
scared.
the worst. John thinks they're an 83. Holden,
Yeah, that's a bad first guess.
Holden thinks they're not as good as they actually are, with an 84.5 average of his guesses.
Man,
and Joel thinks they're
so
slightly better than
sour
they
on
are,
that
but he's
series.
actually closest to accurate because he guessed an 87 is his average guess.
So I win.
You win. That's it. Yes. So that's it for Game on Game Show. That is it for our podcast this week. Episode 207 of Respawn Aim Fire. Big, ginormous thank you to John and Joel from being here from Pixelstreet. I would love for you guys to plug your shit. Is there like a specific thing that you've done recently that you want people to go check out? Please tell us about it. Starting with John. Go.
Well, first of all, I write on GamePro.com, so you can check out that. I've been covering a lot of guides on MLB The Show 21 lately, but I do a lot of writing on there, so go ahead and check that out. Otherwise, on our YouTube channel, Pixelstreet Videos, I will be putting up a little versus series me and Joel are starting up in MLB The Show, where my Cardinals play against his White Sox. Who wins? You'll have to watch and see.
Ooh. Joel,
Ooh.
tell us about some stuff you do.
I've been streaming a lot more. We're on twitch.tv/Campo63. I stream 2 to 3 times a week. I kind of just have a flexible schedule right now, but yeah, you could follow me there. Check out our YouTube channel, Pixelstreet Videos. I'm planning on doing a Let's Play series where I create the largest baseball player I can and name him Big Chungus, and we'll see where that takes us. So, yeah, look out for that.
Big Chungus, that's wonderful. Holden, where do people find anything that you do in life?
I'm still doing my Living Statue Act in Times Square, so you can go to Times Square, and I'm doing that, so you can see that if you want to. I also do this Respawn Aim Fire gaming podcast, and I do an Apple podcast called Networked, where we talk about Apple stuff, and we're having an Apple event this week, so tune in for that. We'll talk about the Apple event.
Ooh, like Granny
Smith,
sour green,
I
watermelon
heard they're
flavor.
including oranges this time.
Out of curiosity, what is the Apple event covering this week?
We don't know yet, but
Something springy.
it says Spring Loaded is the name of it, so we'll probably see a pogo stick, is my guess.
Tagline, get sprung.
An airsoft gun.
Homework for everybody, go to patreon.com/respawnaimfire. If you are a patron, we're going to watch Mortal Kombat this week on Friday. So we're moving game night to Friday. We're going to do Mortal Kombat. We're going to do PlayStation chat for that. You can get that on iOS or you can get it on your desktop, right? PlayStation Party chat? No? JK, you can get it on your phone or your iPad or whatever, and then you can just watch the movie with us too. Holden did it on his iPad last time. It worked fine. Or you can just do it all through your PlayStation and watch it on HBO Max.
I had a weird setup, though. I had a weird setup.
Also, while you're on patreon.com/respawnaimfire, go check out all the cool wallpapers that we've got, like most recently the Mass Effect ones. And there it is, that sexy Mass Effect wallpaper over there in the past at 921. And then finally, go, I would say vote for Barf, but don't vote for Barf. Go download Red Dead Redemption 2, because you guys already voted for it. That's it, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you again, John and Joel, for joining us. Until next time, here's our usual sign-off.
Pixelstreet!
Oh, mine was a zombie for Resident Evil, but we'll keep Pixel Street.